Hello and welcome to Meditations with Abigail Rose Gazda. If you enjoy this meditation, please be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hello and welcome to another week of meditation and transformation. I am so excited to take a moment to say hello and thank you for reaching 1,000 subscribers on this channel. I am honored to have you here, and I am grateful when you like, comment, subscribe, and share with people that you also know would love to develop in meditation and emotional intelligence. What I have uploaded today is actually a preview from my upcoming audiobook, Alchemizing Judgment, A Guide Back to Love. This excerpt comes from Chapter 2, The Path Ahead, and it describes the 3 stages of life that lead to transformation and the 4 predictable stages of transformation. This is a preview of my book that will be coming out live and exclusively on YouTube in October 2025. If you are listening before October 2025, please be sure to subscribe and come back for more. If you are listening after October 2025, you can head to the playlist tab to find the book perfectly and neatly laid out for you. There are 2 options to listen in: the book in one whole long video, or the book laid out in chapters on the playlist. Enjoy whichever way serves you best. And while you wait for the book to come out, you can head over to that playlist and watch my documentary, Alchemizing Judgment. And as always, thank you for your interactions and thank you for sharing. You are listening to Alchemizing Judgment, A Guide Back to Love, written by Abigail Gazda, narrated by Abigail Gazda. Chapter 2, The Path Ahead. Over the course of mastering my craft, I have identified some major stages in life and transformation that I would like to give you a brief understanding of. I will reference them in this book frequently, so that seeing the timeline for this process will make it more fun, free, effortless, and enjoyable. To see the path of enlightenment laid out affords you the opportunity to choose it intentionally at any given moment. Some spiritual teachers believe the best teacher is silence, and in many cases, I agree. On the contrary, my journey has been accelerated by those willing to walk with me on my path and shine light where I could not see. Some simple explanation of complex obstacles have made the biggest differences in my life. I can recall clearing things up that had been bewildering me for years in just hour-long phone calls with a life coach. The inner work bends the laws of time and concrete reality. This makes exponential growth possible and very available. That is why I feel that explaining transformation clearly can encourage more people to take that first magical step. I find myself wishing that it didn't always have to take a traumatic awakening to shift people's consciousness. However, I see time and time again that many do not choose transformation until it is more uncomfortable to stay the same than it is to make a serious change. In this chapter, I will explain the steps that lead up to one choosing transformation and the road ahead once you finally announce to yourself and the universe, I am ready. There are 3 major stages of life that I see occur that lead up to someone's desire for transformation. Sidebar: this is a fast forward to a person's young adult years. For the purposes of this lesson, I am skipping the formative years when our brains are still developing and have yet to become our adult personalities. For more about this impressionable stage, get my book, Giving Up, The Memoir of a Quitter. Beginning with the young adult years, first, there is the shock and awe phase, which I believe happens after we leave school and enter the workforce. This also tends to happen with the onset of a marriage, after having a first child, or the purchase of a first home. It is different for different people. However, the overall experience is, wait a minute, nobody told me about this. What is this? Is this what this is like? It's a general experience of bewilderment that the situation is nothing like we planned for it to be. We are shocked at what being an adult actually comprises of and how totally unprepared we feel for it. This phase also includes feelings of betrayal, frustration, annoyance, disappointment, anxiety, resentment, despair, hopelessness, and more. How long someone stays in the shock and awe phase has a lot to do with upbringing and emotional intelligence. For reference, emotional intelligence can also sometimes be considered common sense. If young folks are shown that what they know as common sense is put down or criticized enough, they doubt themselves and begin to give up their own inner authority early, never learning how to harness it. We do not do our children any favors by teaching them that external authority is more important than their own internal guidance system. Think about it. Someone did this to you, and you gave up your own internal authority as well. It took years to finally take your power back and begin to trust your own intuition again. Or maybe you're arriving at that conclusion in this very moment. Either way, it is never too late to make a shift. The second phase is what I call social media syndrome. I would have likely called this something different if I were from a different generation. However, in this day and age, it is about trying to keep up with what we see in people's highlight reels and Instagram influencer accounts. We spend years striving for an outdated American dream type of illusion. The perfect house, relationship, career, car, family, etc. It's your vision of what you consider the white picket fence vision. It's an illusion of perfection with a facade of achievement when really there is no fulfillment, joy, satisfaction, or peace available in this phase. This is the phase that usually has us peek into our awakening. We get to those made it and mountaintop moments only to discover other mountains off in the distance. In a defeated and exhausted fashion, we begin our descent and head for the next one. We max out on trying to show off, people please, and prove ourselves that we end up causing breakdowns in our life as a result of lack of boundaries and sense of self. We are trying to live up to someone else's standard of success. We chase these fantastic dreams until we have them, only to realize once we are there that it is a delusion. We find ourselves confused, disappointed, unsatisfied, lonely, afraid, anxious, and depressed. This is also the phase of deep depression and self-harm because life feels so confusing. How can I have all that I ever dreamed of wanting and not want any of it? This is a time of questioning all we have ever lived for and feeling as though we had wasted years, maybe even decades. We avoid considering starting over because that idea simply spirals us into fear, regret, and sadness. This phase can lead to substance abuse, sexual misconduct, debt, eroding relationships, numbing out, careless health choices, failure to perform at work, parenting issues, and whatever other ways we can deteriorate our lives. This is what I meant when I said I wish I could spare people the traumatic awakening experience. We have been so conditioned that hard work is the answer to achieving our happiness that we climb dozens of those mountains before slowing down enough to say, I'm not happy, and surrendering the battle. We relentlessly force ourselves into such oblivion that we have no idea who we are anymore or what we're working for. The shove out of this phase usually takes a divorce, job loss, near-death experience, or death of a loved one that awakens us into the next stage of life, which I call the enough is enough phase. I lovingly refer to the folks in this group as my people. The enough is enough crowd has had it. They have had it with pretending. They are tired of trying to be anyone else. They are ready to be exactly who they are. They are done with trying to please, impress, and run themselves ragged in the rat race. The enough is enough phase is magical because it is a phase in which someone is ready for transformation. They are willing to be worked with by a coach, a mentor, or a spiritual guide. In shock and awe and social media syndrome, the person may be complaining a lot or tired, but they are not ready to be told that it is their responsibility to make a shift. Judgment can really have a hold on these people in these phases because they are still trying to compare and move up in the hierarchy. When enough is enough hits, there is no more of that. It is enough of everything. Doing anything you don't want to do becomes intolerable and downright repulsive. This is predictably a stage of rebellion. enough BS, enough pretending, enough living up to anything. This person accepts that if they're going to live a good life, it is up to them, and they are fully ready to take responsibility for that. This is where disruption of the identity starts. When people reach this stage, it is very explosive. They tend to want to demolish everything that is not working in their lives. They leave jobs, marriages, living environments, and more. They start telling people off and not really caring about other people's opinions. This is healthy and natural, but it is not sustainable. The enough is enough phase is simply a milestone in transformation. It comes after the awakening and right before the meaningful introspection, which is what leads to true and lasting change. Next, I will explain the work that I do with people. No matter when I meet them, they usually come to work with me in the enough is enough mentality, and I take them through the transformation into their true, authentic, and divine leadership. This work is a simple matter of evolution. Although the lessons may be taught, they must be applied to life in order to be fully integrated and personally internalized by the individual. This process is not founded on instant gratification and cannot be completed in a few days or weeks. No matter how long it takes or how slow it goes, it is the most beautiful human experience to witness. I am honored to do the work I do with people who are ready to live the life they've been given. The 4 stages of transformation that I guide individuals through are self-discovery, self-development, self-mastery, and transcendence. Self-discovery is exactly what it sounds like. In this stage, a person has decided they're ready to be themselves. When faced with that decision, they have no idea who they are, what they want, or how to even get where they think they are going. This can be scary at first, especially when they realize they have been spending their whole lives living up to other people's expectations and standards. This is an awakening time in itself because a person starts to see how far off they have strayed from their own value system. They really have no idea what their own definition of success is because they've been seeking the validation of others. They have been too busy trying to be some type of acceptable that they have morphed far away from their most original self. In this stage, there is a lot of unbecoming in order to truly become. Self-discovery is a beautiful phase where a lot of blossoming occurs. The stage of self-development is a very interesting one. I like to let anybody willing to listen know that the self-development industry makes a lot of money off of you being unsure of yourself. I like to tell my clients that even if it's a few months or a few years, my job is to put myself out of business with you. I do not want to keep you coming back for more, trying to fix yourself because you think you are broken. You are not broken. You simply have judgments about yourself, which are regurgitated thoughts you've heard your entire life about how much the ideal person should weigh, what the societal norm of beauty is, or what kind of job to have, or what salary you should be making each year. All of these are subtle judgments that we cast upon ourselves to measure our competency, our capability, and our capacity. These are not effective measures of who you are or your impact on the world. This is why I like to walk people through the self-development phase more quickly than the industry would recommend. I have noticed that people get stuck on the self-development wheel for decades and never come out knowing anything more about themselves, the human psyche, or this world. They just become addicted to the intellectual stimulation of self-development and call it transformation. When I identified this leg of transformation as a single phase and noticed the way that people get stuck in it, I decided to create a phase and course in self-mastery. Self-mastery is an incredibly important stage that affords people the opportunity to understand that they are the master of themselves. This is the time for people to fully accept their humanness and begin to apply it as their means of relating to other humans as a way to heal and guide. This becomes a true self-study phase where the conscious you integrates the subconscious you as a tool. This gives a person a sustainable way to live their fullest life at their highest and best. When self-mastery is employed, a person becomes unleashed to fulfill their purpose on the planet, because when you can master yourself, you can master humanity. I believe that this phase is close to Buddhist practices of compassion, love, understanding, and acceptance. I work rigorously with clients to accept, love, celebrate, and unleash themselves. This is an important shift. Millions of people spend the majority of their lives trying to find and fix what's wrong with them. If you insist you are broken, you will always find evidence for that belief, because that is the filter you are looking through. My friend, you will always find what you are looking for. People search so long and hard for what's wrong with them that they never find out what's right with them. They never discover, harness, or deliver their gifts to this world, because when they see glimpses of their greatness, they smother it with doubt, insisting that there is more work to be done before they can be great. Don't get trapped in self-development. The self-development industry makes most of its money on you spinning your wheels here. Not only is it sad to see, it's criminal. To keep people stuck in self-development is a disservice to humanity. I have taken it very seriously to move people into self-mastery so that they may discover their authentic leadership and begin to master their craft of whatever they came to this planet to do. Upon arriving at a mastery level of self and purpose on this planet, I like to take people through the last phase of transformation, which I call transcendence. This is where the heart and soul take precedence over anything the human mind and body can prioritize. Transcendence is an elevation above our humanness that allows us to channel our divine guidance and apply it to this world. This is a special phase because while New Age spirituality may be sexy, what I guide at this level is about your direct connection with your higher power. Many religions teach you about God. But do you actually know Him? Can you have your own conversations with God? Can you have your own connection with the source from which you came? Can you hear Him speaking directly to you, nourishing you, giving you inspired thoughts, giving you specific instructions, asking you to manifest evidence of love all over this world? Your willingness to channel infinite intelligence facilitates the awakening and evolution of humanity. Transcendence is about levitating above our humanness in order to be the clearest vessel for intelligence to flow through. When I suggest words or phrases such as transcending humanness, levitating, elevating, rising above, and other related concepts, I'm not suggesting you place yourself on a pedestal above others that actually encourages separateness. I'm not promoting a hierarchy for which to judge and assess someone's level of enlightenment. The humanness I'm referring to transcending is our fallen nature, the underdeveloped versions of us that lust, envy, compete, complain, and coerce. I'm talking about cleaning up your act as a human in a way that allows you to level up in life towards a more whole, complete, and compassionate version of you that more seriously considers your contribution to humanity. So much of this book is about your divine role here. Fulfilling your role effectively will require your transcendence above addictions of the body and mind, both physical and emotional. Our cravings and aversions to the positive and negative aspects of life are all distractions from true peace and harmony. Yes, positives. We become so addicted to positive reinforcement and material evidence of our worth that even many of the positive aspects of life feed on our primal human nature. I will teach you how to transcend these worldly treasures to experience the treasure that you are. Another important facet of transcendence is that it is not meant to put you above others. Often, when we elevate, we naturally experience a differentiation from our old ways of being. We separate ourselves from the way we used to be, believing that it was bad or wrong. This is just a phase. The more we heal, the more compassion we have for old, maybe unhealthy or destructive behaviors. The whole point of transcendence is not to become some type of better than. Rather, it is to rise up, gain perspective, and then get our feet back on the ground to be here on earth as a walking, talking, living, breathing example of infinite love. It is a holy experience to be here as a shining presence of divinity and grace. You aren't meant to transcend, to leave this planet. You are meant to rise up above barriers that prevent you from living out your wholeness and inspiring others to begin their journey. You are meant to transcend the way a beacon is meant to shine light, direct, and guide. Transcendence is an action of love in alignment with a commitment to the collective restoration. I will teach you how to transcend lower frequency human habits that prevent you from reaching your fullest potential. Through this process, you will get to experience authentic and lasting joy. These are big promises, I know, but in my work, I have witnessed it occur time and time again. I have watched people come back to life and recognize the unadulterated power they have within. At this level of your leadership, you will become willing to give up all of your own worldly identities in order to identify with the oneness that we are. This doesn't mean you lose yourself. It means that you become restored to who and what you were made to be and to fulfill the divine role you came here to play. You will be in constant alignment with your intuition and inner guidance system to navigate life here on earth. This is that direct connection that transcendence makes available. This book is about living in the stage of transcendence. You wouldn't be reading this if you weren't meant for more. We wouldn't have found each other here if your soul hadn't nudged you to this book. You have a direct connection with your source energy, and when you connect intentionally, you will be the most in your purpose and on purpose you have been in all of your life. Working with you in the stage of transcendence to clarify who you are and what you are here to do is the most phenomenal gift I can imagine getting to do with my own life. This is your calling too. It is each of ours in our own right. How it manifests for you is yet to be discovered. This book will help you reach that clarity. I have crafted these 4 major phases into a curriculum for transformation to prevent people from spending unnecessary time reaching around in the dark room of evolution. As I mentioned earlier, working with a leader, mentor, or a guide would flip on the light switch for me, and I would be empowered to navigate the next stage, highly aware of my surroundings. I credit my rapid growth and maturation to this work, and I take a lot of pride in offering it to those interested. The topics of this book are relevant and important at every stage, and they take time. To alchemize judgment is not easy for the reactive mind. For the person who does not know themselves, judgment can cause doubt. To the person who has not accepted themselves, judgment can trigger insecurities and open wounds. You must be willing to transcend above your circumstances in such a way that they do not take you out on impact. All of these factors can cloud your judgment and prevent you from recognizing the opportunity at hand to generate more love in the world. Being able to alchemize judgment in the moment it is presented will grant you the superpower to finding value in every moment of every day. Judgment is always a gift to meet ourselves and others more fully. You will be invited to meet yourself in ways you have never considered before. This will require your willingness to remain receptive to new perspectives and challenges. In this book, I will invite you to be the most open-hearted you have ever been and remind you that it is safe to do so. No judgment can harm you, my friend. It is one of your greatest teachers, and teachers serve the purpose of providing knowledge and education. It is your duty to learn the art of transmuting all energies into love so that you may always be offering the highest and best you have to offer: unconditional grace, love, and gratitude. I am so excited to take this journey with you. Thank you for listening to this reading of Alchemizing Judgment. If you enjoyed this reading, please head to the playlist tab on my YouTube channel, Abigail Rose Gazda, where you can find my documentary, Alchemizing Judgment. If you enjoyed this reading, please like this video and comment a review below. I also invite you to subscribe to my channel, Abigail Rose Gazda. To read and listen to more of my books, visit abigailgazda.com/books. Thanks for tuning in.